Welcome to today's lesson, and today we are going to look at Zambia's path to independence. Where did we come from as a nation? How did we reach a point where we started calling ourselves as Zambia? Now, I'm going to take you straight into our pre-colonial times, and those are the times before Zambia became, even known as Northern Rhodesia. Now, we shall quickly focus on the key years and events that took place. So let's begin with before 1890s. Now, before 1890, the people who lived in this country called Zambia today were ruled by the chiefs or kings. Now, the chiefs or kings with their people formed kingdoms such as the Bemba, Lozi, Tonga, and Lunda. Now, basically, when you look at this map, it is showing you different kingdoms. There are no countries here, and there are no, protectorates or anything like that. Now, so this is the time before colonial masters came to Africa. Now, moving ahead, it was in the year 1890 when King Litunga Lewanika signed mineral loyalties or mineral loyalty treaty with the British South Africa company called Lochner Concession. Now, the Lochner Concession was signed in the year 1890 by King Litunga Lewanika. The BSA company of John Cecil Rhodes. Now, this is John Cecil Rhodes. In case you see such, an image or such a person in the exam asking you who that person is in the picture, you should be able to know that this is how John Cecil Rhodes used to look like. And it is from him the name Rhodesia came from. In the year 1895, the British South Africa Company, BSA, began to rule northwestern Rhodesia, which was under Litunga Lewanika. So if you look at this map is showing you that we have northeast Rhodesia and northwest Rhodesia. Now, northwest Rhodesia was known as the Barotse land. It was this territory which was under the rule of King Litunga Lewanika. Now, in 1897, the British South Africa Company begins to rule northeastern Rhodesia after defeating the Ngoni people under Chief Mpezeni. So you find that the BSA Company fought with the Ngoni people and defeated them. In the end, they started ruling northeast Rhodesia. In the year 1911, the British South Africa Company joined northwestern Rhodesia and northeastern Rhodesia to form a large colony called Northern Rhodesia. So the map is clearly indicating northeast Rhodesia and northwest Rhodesia. So these two countries were brought together to form one large country or one large colony known as Northern Rhodesia. So before Northern Rhodesia came to be known Northern Rhodesia, it was Northeastern Rhodesia and Northwestern Rhodesia, which were brought together or amalgamated in the year 1911. In the year 1912, the Mwansa Welfare Society was formed by Donald Siwale to fight colonialism. Now, the Mwansa was a Protestant missionary station welfare association formed in Livingstone, Kitwe, Broken Hill, now known as Kabwe, and Ndola. In 1924, the British took over Northern Rhodesia from the British South Africa Company as it was no longer profitable to the company. Britain agreed to rule Northern Rhodesia because they wanted minerals and raw materials for their factories in Britain. Now, Britain promised to rule Northern Rhodesia as a protectorate. Now, you need to understand what the term protectorate means. A protectorate is a state or a country that's ruled and controlled as well as protected by a stronger one, like Zambia or Northern Rhodesia was a British protectorate, with Britain being the stronger country. In 1930, the Passfield Memorandum was signed. Passfield Memorandum stated that no further white minority governments would be permitted, dismissing settler aspirations of self-government. So that's about the Passfield Memorandum. signed in the year 1930. Now, in 1935, we had the first strike by miners on cobalt in Nkana, Mufulira, and Ron Antelope. The second strike was in 1940 by the miners on cobalt in Nkana and Mufulira. So those are the miners underground doing some mining operation during the colonial era. In 1946, all welfare societies were joined together by Dauti Yamba to form a federation of welfare societies to fight colonialism. So in the year 1946, that is the year when Dauti Yamba, joined all welfare societies to fight against colonialism. That's Dauti Yamba. Now, in the year 1948, the first political party was formed by Godwin Bikusita Lewanika, called Northern Rhodesia African National Congress, to fight colonialism. So that's Bikusita Lewanika. In 1949, the Northern Rhodesia African Mine Workers Union was formed by Lawrence Katilungu. So that is Lawrence Katilungu. This is a man from Cobalt, Kitwe, who fought so hard to ensure that the plight of the workers in the mines was looked into. In the year 1951, Northern Rhodesia African National Congress changed its name to African National Congress, ANC, and its new leader was Harry Mwanga Nkumbula. That's Harry Mwanga Nkumbula. In 1953, Kenneth David Buchizia Kaunda, popularly known as KK, was appointed Secretary General for the African National Congress, ANC. In 1953, Rhodesia and Nyasaland joined together to form a Federation of Rhodesia and Nyasaland. Now, Rhodesia was made up of two countries, namely Southern Rhodesia, Zimbabwe, and Northern Rhodesia, Zambia, while Nyasaland is now the country we call Malawi. So this was the federation of the three countries, forming the Federation of Rhodesia and Nyasaland. Now, by definition, a federation is a system of government which is centrally organized but allows individual states to control their own internal affairs. And, the first federal prime minister was Sir Godfrey Huggins, and the last prime minister was Sir Roy Welensky. And the capital city of the Federation of Rhodesia and Nyasaland was Salisbury, which we now call Harare. That's in Zimbabwe. So that is Sir Godfrey Huggins, and that is Sir Roy Welensky. In the year 1958, Kenneth Kaunda broke away from the African National Congress ANC and formed Zambia African National Congress, ZANC, which saw him get arrested. Now, when Kaunda was arrested in 1958, a year later, in 1959, the United Nations Independence Party was formed by Mwansa Chona. And after prison, Kaunda took over UNIP presidency. So that is Mwansa Chona with David Kenneth Kaunda. And that's Mwansa Chona's wife. In 1960, Moncton Commission was formed to look into the future of the Federation of Rhodesia and Nyasaland. And it recommended that people did not want the federation. Hence, a year later, in 1961, we had the Cha-Cha-Cha campaign, or civil disobedience, which took place in Luapula and northern provinces of Zambia. So the Cha-Cha-Cha campaign, or civil disobedience, was a time when people took to the streets to protest against white supremacy and colonial rule. In the year 1962, UNIP and ANC formed a coalition government. Now, you need to understand what coalition government means. Now, a coalition government is a government formed by two or more political parties. So, the UNIP and ANC formed a coalition government in 1962. In 1963, the Federation of Rhodesia and Nyasaland came to an end. Then, a year later, in 1964, Zambia gets its independence on 24th October. So this is one of the most important dates in Zambia's history because it was on 24th October Zambia became emancipated, Zambia became independent of colonial rule. So this is the free Zambia now, people celebrating their freedom. And this was the first cabinet with Kenneth Kaunda being the first prime minister. Thank you for your time and remember to subscribe to our channel.